Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the Great Legend, and we're coming at you live. Comic Book Roundtable representing. We got Kat, we got Mark, we got Drew Manchu, baby. Man, how y'all doing tonight?
We're good.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm doing great, man. I don't know about Kat and Mark. I'm doing pretty phenomenal. You know, I had the day off today. I went back to work a little bit this week, and I'm ready to hang out with my people here on Friday night, get my mind off of all the drama in the world, and have a good time talking about some nerd stuff. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Kat Wren Figures, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I loves me some Fridays. Here to hang out with the family, you know. Legend, you, Mark, and I, we are coming off of some Choose Your Own Adventure Under the Sea with, our favorite crab.
That's right, Sebastian. I tell you, old Sebastian, coming at you live here. Man, we got a big time party tonight here on Comic Corps Roundtable. We're going to be going into the Comic Corps origins, secret origins. How did we get started in the hobby? You know, was it the books? Was it the art? Was it the smell? Was it the LCS? Was it the ASMR? You're going to find it out here all tonight. And then we're even going to talk about that breaking news that happened today. A lot of you already heard it, but DC Comics severing ties with Diamond Comic Distributors. Man, there's going to be a lot of action tonight. But first, we got to go and check that chat. Boy, because Carson would be at my throat if I didn't check the chat. And tonight, we got the main man, Chris Barrett, is in the house. He's saying, what's up? Origin of Cosmic King, but you don't know the origin of the man behind the crown. You may get Chris Barrett's origin in the chat tonight, so keep it, and you'll be learning all about it. Then we got next up, Comic Man Andy. This is gonna be awesome, man. Great to see Comic Book Andy in the house. Stream Elements bot is running. I know Carson loves them that stream.
Look, we gotta pay homage to the robot overlords when they take over. Yeah. We want to be in good graces. We all love you, Stream Elements bot.
Artificial intelligence representing tonight. Fuchsia only. It's great to see Fuchsia, one half of Married with Issues, of course, with Soldier only. So it's great to have Soldier's better half here. No offense, Soldier, just kidding. And we got my main man from 2011, Mr. Gretzky 9966, telling him about them golden guys, has him buying those Atlas War books, which, you know, that's a great show on Tuesday night. Check out the Golden Guys, and you know, you'll be getting some new pointers on some new Golden Age books to get. But first off, let's go around the round table, and I want to talk to Kat Wren Figures. What did you do this week in pop culture? What did you read? Did you pick anything up? Just let me know what's going on with you.
All right. So I did pick up some things. One of the big highlights of this week that, you know, we already talked about, but Journey Under the Sea, Sebastian Crab.
Journey Under the Sea is where it's at.
Always. There you go. I did pick up something that I thought was pretty awesome that I need to do a review of for the channel, but I got me a ghost trap.
Damn. So cool, man. I feel it. Drew and me, we're thinking Ray and Egon.
Got me a ghost trap.
You can be Ray and you can be Egon all you want. I'm Peter Venkman, and that's just the way it's gonna go.
You gonna get him some of that Sigourney, baby. Oh God.
Well, you know it, baby. You know it.
But I did pick up some books as well.
Damn, that's awesome.
So first off, same time I got the Ghost Trap, I actually saw this in the checkout line. Yes, I'm aware it's a reprint of the Amanda Connor Starfire, but I mean, I love that Connor cover of Starfire so much, and I saw it with the Titans logo, and I was like, I need to get that. So it had to come home with me. It really did.
Looks good.
Another kind of like back issue that I picked up. I actually already own this, but I could not pass it up for $1. So this is actually the first appearance of the second The Fox, aka my favorite Fox. So this is the same Fox that Mark Waid wrote for the Fox Hunt and other things like that. Pretty lesser known character.
Getting some knowledge from Cat Wren tonight.
I love him, but you know, I could not just leave him there for $1. I was like, yeah, this is coming home with me. But I also picked up Catwoman. So this is her 80th anniversary.
Ooh, okay.
I was really torn as to which of the covers I wanted to get. And I just saw this one and it was giving me those 90s vibes. And a lot of my early collection when I was a child, she was always wearing that purple suit. So I was like, I need to get this cover.
The 90s style right there, 90s.
I kind of love it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. It is one of those collection style anniversary 100-page specials where it's a collection of short stories, a collection of pinups and everything. There's a lot in here that I enjoy. Yeah, there's a few things that are kind of stinkers. Drew and I were talking about that before this. There's a Kelly Jones piece of art in here that is just atrocious, you know. But there's a lot to love in here. And also, I believe it's the first appearance of the Bat Bucket in this. Maybe Bat Bucket. I mean, don't get too excited about it because it's literally just a bucket with a bat symbol on it. But you know, Bat Bucket, everyone, Bat Bucket. Go out and get that book. Yeah, don't unless you really like Catwoman, which I do. But I also picked up Birds of Prey. So this is not written by Amanda Connor, unfortunately. It's written by Brian Azzarello, which I still have a lot of respect for him. It's not like the same crazy, zany Harley in the Birds of Prey that we kind of got with like the last iteration we got from Black Label, but it's a very beautiful book. I mean, we've got Emmanuel Lucio on the art, and let me just show you a little bit of it. So in it, we're dealing with Harley Quinn finally leaving Belle Rev, and there's all this craziness going on. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who's not actually reading it, but the artwork throughout is spectacular. I'm not S.H.I.E.L.D., remember? I'm not allowed to.
I guess I'm just an alternate. Don't worry, Kat. We're best friends, remember?
Yeah, you and I are cool.
Let's see that artwork again.
Yeah, there's one panel in particular that I really want to show off just because I thought it was probably the most beautiful thing in the entire book. But
I do love a beautiful panel on this beautiful channel.
Basically, just to give you a little bit of context here,
Gomer in the house.
Canary is checking on someone, and she finds them in a pretty stressful situation, and she ends up using the canary cry. She's screaming, no.
Love the artwork.
But gorgeous, gorgeous art throughout this entire book. I'm really excited to see where this goes moving forward. Continuing on, what else did I get? I also, this technically came out, I believe, last week, but I didn't actually make it over to my shop. And that's Mercy, issue 2 from Mirko Adolfo. Another just really crazy misadventure from Mirko Adolfo's wonderful,
beautiful book.
It's a gorgeous book. And, Adolfo does all of the art as well as the writing herself. So huge shout out there. I do love her work.
Oh yeah, classic.
Had to get it.
Yep.
Also,
I know Carson loves him some Booster Gold. You never know what kind of romance is going to go on that book.
That's a good looking cover.
Booster. Yep.
But another, probably one of the last books I picked up.
Oh, Drew's favorite book.
The Boys, Dear Becky, I didn't actually read The Boys before this. I watched the show. I read a couple of the issues, and I read the pro. Apparently, she's like in the background of some of the boys stuff, according to Chad. But
she's a hero-gasm.
Yeah, but I read this. I don't know 100% what's going on, but it's got me enough to where I'm interested to read issue 2.
Damn.
So
good for you. That's good though.
Yeah, I'm still really, really annoyed by that MegaCon variant with Starlight that they only made 200 issues of.
Yeah,
I'm kind of annoyed by that. I can't get it.
Sometimes you have some good times. Sometimes you got the bad times, but that's all right, man. Drew, before I get to Chad, let's go to Drew Manchu real quick because Drew, you had one of those books that Kat was showing, that boys book there.
I got 2 of the books that Kat was showing, and I'm not going to go ahead and bore you all with a filibuster. I actually did a comic haul this week on my channel because I had to do. I just had to do it, man. I won some stuff from Downright Nerdy Podcast. If you guys want to see me unbox those winnings, you can check that out. He did throw in this Spider-Man Far From Home Mysterio pop, absolutely free.
Awesome, dude.
With my winnings, which was a real cool statue. You guys check that out. I also talked about picking up some key issues this week. These right here, you can check that out on my channel. Those are cherry. I'm going to put them right up there in the slot so they don't get all messed up. Pick of the week: Batman, Superman. I'm not usually a fan of Joshua Williamson. I like what he's doing here. They're kind of bold, fun, simple adventures where the world's finest team up, and I'm a fan. And Henry is the name of the artist on this. The art inside is really, really good. Detective was, okay for a Tomasi issue. I wasn't really a huge fan of the tie-in to Joker War. Even though I am excited for Joker War, I kind of like the fact that Batman and Detective were kind of divorced from each other, and I'm not a huge fan of where that's going, but I'm still down for that as long as everything works out with my shops in DC and they figure their stuff out. Turd of the Week's got a tie, guys. Turd of the Week's got a tie because The Boys was a turd. This book was not good. I don't know what Ennis was trying to do here, but there's like 2 separate things going on. And neither one of them are that interesting or well written. And there's a lot of political correctness talk in there. And I can't tell if he's for it or against it at the end of the day. So it just kind of felt masturbatory. Like he's like kind of just doing it, talking about it just to talk about it. And it wastes 3/4 of the #1 issue of this series. And unless it all comes back to Butcher's wife was a transsexual, I don't understand what it had to do with anything. And hey, if that's the end of the story, that's great. I'm not going to read it. Catwoman. This is like 98 stories. It was like $12,000. There is like 3 good pieces of art in the whole thing. And you guys, I don't think anybody could bet what my favorite story was because it was the Tom King story.
Oh, wow. Good.
I am not a fan of Catwoman. That being said, if you are not a fan of Catwoman, pick up this Jim Lee cover because it's the best looking one, or don't waste your time. And that's what I got for books today. Like I said, there's a show on my channel, only about a half hour. Watch it if you want to know more.
It was a good show. I'm a big fan of the Drew Manchu Bay channel. Real quick in the chat, we got John's Comics with Kids in the house saying hello, friends. And man, it is great to see John's Comics with Kids, man. Chad, how about you, my friend? Did you read anything, get anything cool, or pick up anything this week?
I did. And I picked up some books. And so against Drew, and I'm sorry, but Boys, if everybody knows, it is my favorite run. It's like my why. This book, I'll agree, it took a little bit, but it's very reminiscent of some of the middle issues of Boys, like the Huey story and some of the other arcs that occurred. But I think I've been wanting a Boys to come back for so long that out of the nostalgic reasons, this would probably be my pick of the week. I'm interested to see where this book goes and just to have it back. My turd of the week wasn't really a turd. Drew, great call on Batman and Superman. It's kind of a tie because I really did not like Shazam.
Damn, I haven't got mine yet.
Yeah, and it's not because I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to reread it, but I wasn't a real big fan. Had a really good took part of a really cool meeting, Zoom presentation with Bendis a couple weeks ago, and was like, okay, now I understand it. Then I read this.
I actually like that JRJR cover. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
One of his better ones.
I was excited because I see Connor on it, right?
I like the square jaw on Connor. Honestly, I do. I think it looks good.
Problem I had, and that middle panel right there.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about being rebooted. He literally talks, and I'll read it. I have been told I am a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor, DNA fused together. I think I've been told I am another version of this Earth, but from this Earth, just a different version that maybe doesn't exist anymore. And then later in the book, he meets Jonathan and the Legion.
Yeah, it was like Brainiac something or other.
Yeah. And the entire Justice League is sitting there in 2 pages discussing how many times, and I quote, been rebooted from Flashpoint to Crisis, and they actually address that. So I feel like
it's been it's Bendis dragging DC continuity. I feel like it's him saying, well, everybody's down on me for messing up DC continuity. Let me drag DC continuity so people who are reading my book know where I stand on that. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but I'm also not reading that book because I wasn't a huge fan of where I saw Bendis start those arcs. And I wasn't a fan of that. Was it Man of Steel, that 4-parter?
Yeah.
Or 6-parter. No, I didn't like that. So I dropped it. Who
is that character? Is he even around now?
Robosaur? I don't know. But I actually, as like a writing mechanic, I don't mind that so much. But at the same time, I'm not reading that book, so I can't really posit my opinion on it.
And that was Action Comics 110, right, Chad?
120, 1022.
Dude, all right. So, Chad, tell me, what does this do for Connor? Were you did you like the parts where Bendis was talking about the reboots? Or was it
it just bothered me. But the whole Connor aspect of it, I mean, it's good to see him back in continuity. His interactions with Ma and Pa Kent. But, like, again, how many times has Pa Kent, Jonathan, died?
Damn, I know, right?
Question for you, as somebody who's reading the Jonathan character, is Young Justice still going?
It is. And next week is a Connor cover.
Now, are they out of Gem World and back in regular continuity?
Yeah, so that got really cool. And like, even though they screwed up with,
I didn't like the number one, so I didn't keep up with it. But I'm kind of interested as to how they're tying it all together. Maybe I gotta go back and read Bendis' Superman just to have something to do.
Well, what do you think, Chad?
Chad? I'm gonna give Drew. Honestly, Young Justice, after they named Drake, it got good, and it showed like how Tim. I thought so. It shows the humanity of like when they were fighting Stephanie, and how he got. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, but right now, I'm a little disappointed because my stack's all DC, and I don't know what's going on there.
Hey, we're gonna get to that real quick. We gotta check the chat. Well, we got John's Comics with Kids. What are you doing, John, over here? Hey, you ain't John. You Chris Barrett, man. What's you doing, man? There he is. Hey, Donnie. These guys are discussing their origins in comics and collecting tonight. And, man, we're going to be doing it right. But before, I got to tell y'all, folks, what I read this week and everything, man. And then, of course, John and Always on the Hunt. Big shout out to Always on the Hunt. He's up in here tonight. So great to see you. Awesome. I got to show you this book. I'm still working my way through this bad boy right here. The big old Shazam Volume 1. And I just got done reading this story last night. I read a couple issues. I read issue 10. Actually, yeah, I read issue 9 and 10. But issue 10 was one of my favorites because if you look real close, Shazam and that girl, there's attacking. It's invasion of the Salad Men. It's like Fruit of the Loom up in there, man. And it was just so zany and crazy, 1973, man. What are you going to do? And what happens is they crash land and they need, space parts. Of course, space parts in this time period is going to run them about $200,000. So everyone is running around. There's a line by the big head lettuce. As head of the lettuce, I'm giving the orders. The rest of us will try to radio home while you stalk down some parts. So
stalk down.
Then this one gal right here, this is the best one ever. She goes, Captain Marvel, help us toss the salad and painters out of the park before they steal our homes. And anyway, so what he does, everyone's running around, everyone's scared, and he tries to get parts from this Radio Shack type dude, but he ain't going to have it. He's running for his life. And he tries to get parts from another place. And finally, what they have to do, a great idea. And earlier in the series, Billy Batson is out with his girlfriend, and he wishes upon a star. And so we'll get to that. But what happens is they spoof like making a movie, and the invaders, win over Shazam, and they're taking over. You see head lettuce in the bottom left biting Shazam's nose and everything, and it's just really kooky and crazy. But they make enough money from making the movie that and there it is, Invasion of the Salad Men. So everyone's going to see the movie in Fawcett. And then at the very last it says, oh, what did I wish on? The falling star. I wished I could be a movie star and for a day, and I was as Captain Marvel. And that was the end. So you get just funny stuff with these books. The second story, you got a really cool Mary Marvel story as, some jerks steal her Thanksgiving Day parade, and she has to go chase that down. And then you get Aunt Minerva hiring two of her goons to go capture Captain Marvel. And they were like, well, what will you, at the very end, they find out, of course, they didn't capture Captain Marvel. They also find out what she would have given both of the goons, and she was going to give them her hand in marriage. Now, here's the original book, because I know some of us don't like reading in hardcovers trades. A lot of us like reading in the floppies. And the funny picture with Aunt Minerva here, she's like, marry me, you big red cheese, or else. And she's holding a pistol on the Reverend, and she's holding a pistol on old Captain Marvel. So I thought that was very funny. And for all you real collectors out there, those ones that got to have the near mints and the pedigrees. This is a Tongi farm pedigree. Somebody call Ming. Somebody call Haku, because Tongi Farm's coming at you live here tonight, man.
I tell you what, Legend, I absolutely love that cover copy on those DC 20 centers. It's one of my favorite things to dig for. Yeah, is looking for those issues in really good shape. There's just something about those issues when they look like they're brand new, like that one does. That is in great shape, and it just takes you back to that era, definitely. And before we get into our topic tonight, Legend, I just want to go back to the chat real quick. Shout out Phil Ailing. Thank you for popping in, Phil. Phil's a great dude in the community. Glad to have you watching, and I just really want to ask you a question in particular. From your buddy Donnie. Where's Carson?
Dude, Carson is gone too soon. Sorry, we can't give him the rub. He's working at Sam's Club. Sorry, Carson. We'll get Carson back. Carson, of course, he's our host with the most. We love him dearly, and we're going to get him back hopefully next Friday. And Drew, we were talking, and Chad, Chad actually has been talking for months on this issue. So I'm going to go to him first on this. But Chad, today the news broke that DC has broke away from Diamond Comic Distributors. Man, what can you tell us about that?
I can tell you a lot, but I'll keep it pretty simple. The reason I was late, I was actually doing a podcast with John Suntress and Rich Johnson from Bleeding Cool.
Good people.
And we were talking about the implications of this. Not from a standpoint. I mean, I think DCBS and Luna and UCS are going to be able to distribute the books just fine on East Coast and West Coast. But the problem is that DCBS and Luna and UCS.
Those are the ones for
distributors.
For
DCBS
discount
and Midtown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the big problem is for the brick and mortars, they have 10 days to get their orders into or apply for a license to order from these. They don't they don't know what the discounts are going to be. Two, it's also their direct competition. And since previews is no longer going to be in the DC previews is no longer going to be in the Diamond is directing retailers to their websites to tell the subscribers and their clients to go to the website to see it. On the top of the website is an ad running 40% off comics if you have a subscription for Midtown Comics. So, I mean, it's a great power move by DCBS and Midtown, Luna and USC. How's it going to hurt? Is it going to hurt the LCSs? I don't know. I talked to a couple LCSs, and Rich Johnson, from Bleeding Cool, he knows his shit. Over in the UK, it's a whole different story. In the UK, it's a whole different story because Luna and UCS do not ship over there currently. So right now, DC does not have a plan to distribute to the UK.
Oh.
And his thoughts are that they are moving, and he's been talking to people that they're moving to there's one other element of this whole scenario, which is Penguin Publishing and Penguin Distribution. And Penguin Distribution is they're going to be the distributor of all DC trades. And is this a move that DC is moving and AT&T are moving away from floppy more to the trade market? I would say yes. And that's what they've experimented with it for the past two years in the young readers market. And they also have a big plan with that Grayson Circus, whatever that trade that's coming out. So right now it's in flux. We as consumers are going to probably be able to benefit from it from lower price points. But it's just going to be a little bit, maybe a difficult stance. The one thing that I'm concerned about is there are several books, and I think this indicates more of the trade aspect. There are several books that have been canceled that have been selling well. Supergirl is canceled, and it doesn't have a final issue now. Its final issue is exclusively on the app. The Terrifics is going to have an exclusive finale on the app. Now, this is the one that gets me. Lucifer is canceled too, and it's outperforming a lot of books. It's going to have an exclusive trade.
Oh, damn.
So they're playing with the different markets. How are they going to do it? I don't know. The retailers are pissed. 100%. They are entitled to be pissed because this cuts in, and their margins are so thin. They are entitled to be pissed right now.
And anyone that collects slabs, I'll have you know, they do slab trade paperbacks. So, hey, there you go there. Drew, what's your thoughts on this whole conundrum with DC and Diamond?
My thoughts are, hey, if you like Batman, you're going to be fine. Batman sells. So you know where it will sell? It'll sell in Barnes & Noble and collected edition. Superman, yeah, you're going to get less stories, but there will be Superman collected editions. Wonder Woman, when a movie drops, it sells. So it'll sell in collected editions once in a while. But if you're a fan of the tertiary characters of the DC universe, goodbye. You want a Swamp Thing book? Sorry, it's not happening. Legend, you better hope they get that Shazam movie rolling, or that book's going to get canceled too. Like the thing is, they're trying to force people to the app, and they're betting on selling trades, and they don't care about the direct market, and they don't care about floppies. AT&T sees these as intellectual properties, and they're trying to offload the distribution part onto another company who's probably giving them kickbacks. And you're getting at the same time, like Penguin Publishing is going to be fine for DC. Like you're going to be able to get reprints of The Dark Knight Returns forever. Don't expect to get another Dark Knight Returns, because those kind of stories won't be happening if the floppies go away, because the artists and the writers rely on those steady paychecks of steady readers. That's how these companies stay afloat, is by continually publishing these books. And if they throw the floppy market away, it hurts everybody, man. Because like Diamond's going to get hurt because it's 30% of their book inventory. Now, I would assume that they're still going to use Diamond to distribute statues and toys and advertise in Diamond.
No.
Well, then they're fucked. Good luck. I mean, honestly, like, good luck finding. Are you going to be like, you're going to be able to go to Sideshow? You're going to be able to get the top end stuff, but like the PVC stuff, like the things that are like attainable for regular people, the action figures that are like, unless you have a comic shop near you that is going to go through all the bells and whistles and jump through all the hoops to get these things in their store. If it's too hard for the companies to get these things in store, then it's just bad for everybody. So I'm like, Chad, everything on your wall behind you, minus the Hulk battles the Inhumans and the Captain America, it's all DC. Like it's all DC, man. And that's not gonna be in comic shops. Like that to me it's offensive. I want to see how my LCS deals with it, because if my LCS is cool with it, I'm cool with it. But if they're not cool with it, I'm down for a boycott. I don't care. I'm not going to go out of my way to find books for a publisher that doesn't care about getting books into my hands. And look, I understand that Diamond has a monopoly, right? Why not spread the love? You can use multiple distributors. That's not a problem, right? That you can start your own distributing company. If AT&T was smart, they'd buy a distributing company and they'd try their own thing while they were still using Diamond, right? To slow roll it out is the best way to do it. But like these comic shops are now being hit with that. Like it's these books in flux, right? That DC has been trying to release. My comic shop still doesn't have them. He ordered them. He still doesn't have them. Like I don't, the ones that came out, the first round that came out through the other distributor, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can order these because I can get them in people mail order. He actually broke down and he ordered them, and now he still hasn't gotten them. So people say, oh, the distribution's going to be fine. Diamond screws everything up. Diamond has been shipping comics forever.
Everybody forgets that they were they were a shop.
Does anybody know how they get their Midtown orders? Because I constantly see people with screwed up Midtown orders.
Kat can speak to that because
I since I had an issue with Diamond constantly screwing over my shop and just changes with staffing in my shop and just my books constantly just being in shit shape and no one caring about it, I broke up with my LCS some time ago. I still shop at the other two, but the biggest one in my town, I don't shop at anymore. Now, all of these that I have right here, I picked up at another shop. That being said, most of my comic orders come from Midtown now. Midtown Comics, I will tell you, I've had 1 or 2 books that have been really jacked up from them. However, I have always found a way to resolve it with them through their customer service. Honestly, like for the longest time, I was filming my my polls, or like I'll post something on Instagram or whatever. But like if you take the time to email their customer service, if you have photos of all the damage and you have it, clearly there. I've had several books that they've sent me replacement copies of.
That's good right there. That's good service.
Diamond does replacement returns too, though. So that's on the shop.
It hasn't been an issue for me using Midtown. I feel like I can have my pick of a number of different variant covers. There's certain issues that my shops around here, the smaller shops, can't afford to order because like they have order quotas that they need to reach, especially for some of the smaller publishers. The newest Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew crossover series that just started a few weeks ago. None of the shops around here were able to actually get their hands on it. And I have a copy coming from Midtown. Things like what was that crazy story? I think my friend Dan is a dolphin. Like that would have never sold around here. Yes, I've got a review for a comic. Like I think my friend Dan is a dolphin is the name of it, but it's a crazy little like adult comic, and it's nothing but just satire throughout, and it's hilarious. And it's such a low print run. It's one of those things that you're not going to be able to just pick up here or pick up there. But I will tell you, the big thing that I wanted to talk about as far as DC going away from Diamond does not care about anyone but Diamond. Diamond has been notorious for sending really, really shitty packing jobs on comics and not caring about these shops for years. And I understand that may not be the reason why DC is going away from Diamond. That being said, I am all for other companies starting to branch into Diamond's profits right there. I'm all for trying to spread out the distribution of comics throughout other companies. Yes, that is going to hurt a number of shops and a number of different areas. Like you said, the UK right now, we don't exactly have a plan for how they're going to get DC books. I know on Instagram, my girl, Comic Goddess, she's in the UK and she's a DC girl like I am. That's really going to affect her. And I really hate that. But I think in the long run, this could be something really good, honestly, because we're going to break it up to where it's not just all through one company, to where if Diamond says no, that's it. It's going to be a way to branch out. Yes, we're going to have growing pains for a while. Yes, it's going to be hard for a while. It's going to piss a lot of people off for a little while. But you know what? I feel like moving forward, this could be a good way for other companies to branch out. Not to mention a lot of smaller, like indie publishers, they already release their own books themselves. So why not have one of the big ones?
10%.
10%.
10% of the market is on the indies. The biggest thing, and one of the main reasons why one of the main reasons this occurred is DC's contract came up. So 2 months ago, when the pandemic struck, they asked Diamond for an extension on their contract to the end of May. So end of May came. They asked for another extension. They asked for one through the 1st of June, and that came. They asked for another extension until the end of June, and Diamond came back and was like, "Hey, why?" And they're like, "Well, you know what? Can we have an extension through to July 15th?" At that point, Diamond was having some financial issues with being able to pay the publishers because they weren't shipping.
There's no cash flow.
Yeah, there was no cash flow. So they went to DC. They went to all the publishers and they explained it, and the publishers understood them. DC said, "Okay, can we go outside the market? Can you give us a temporary release on this exclusive contract?" And Diamond, to their credit, agreed to it. DC then came back last week and asked for an extension through the end of July, beginning of August. And Diamond came back and stated, "You know what? No, we got to get this contract signed." So DC politely said, "Hey, let us look at it, let us decide, and we'll get back to you on June 6th. So the morning of June 5th, today, they released a message to all the retailers, and at the same time sent the same message to Diamond. So they got their ducks in a row, and they made this decision. The problem that I'm seeing, and I am 100% a DC fanboy. The problem I have with all this is from a lot of my LCSs are my friends, and it hurts them directly because now they're going to the competitor. And that's my problem. Like, you hurt a friend of mine. Do you know what I mean? And you're taking, there is such minimal. I mean, if you owned a comic book shop, you're not a millionaire. Go ahead, Kat.
No, I was agreeing with you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're not a millionaire. You did it because more than likely you were in love with the hobby. So I see it from DC's point of view. I see it from Luna and UCS, and I also see the retailer side. So it's a great business decision. They now control the market, and they can do whatever they want to. DCBS and Midtown, now they have another revenue stream. And now the retailers are like scratching their head that, I mean, honestly, some retailers, some stores, it varies. Some stores are DC store centric and whatnot. But like we all know John Ingle, DC accounts for 5% of his total revenue.
Yep. Okay.
That 5% is not that big of a number, but at the end, if they just do trades, he said he's okay with that.
Mm-hmm. And John Ingle's a great friend of the Comic Corps, of course, 6 stores in the Pittsburgh area, New Dimension Comics. I want to go to Mark real quick because earlier in the chat, people wanted to know, Mark, what you were eating. What have you been doing, man? What are you eating? What are you drinking tonight?
I like the hat, dude.
Yeah, 40. I like the shirt.
40th anniversary, right, Chad? Pac-Man celebrated that 40th anniversary last week.
Nice. Mark's killing it on the wardrobe tonight.
Thanks. Anyway, so I read a little bit of Six Pack and Dog Welder. So far, I'm enjoying it.
We didn't like Starfire in that book. Her representation was super off, Drew.
Well,
look, I didn't write it.
Well, you know what? You could have warned me. Friend to friend, you could have warned me.
Earlier,
I told Mark to read it. I didn't tell you how to read it.
I'm just glad he read a book.
Who do I think read it? I know exactly who read it. You read it to him. He's getting night stories.
Well, let me just reiterate, man. We had a great discussion about the DC and the Diamond. My thoughts are this: if mycomicshop.com keeps selling the Shazam and the Hal Jordan, I'm gonna keep buying them. If they don't, I'll be reading them 6 months down the line on the DC universe. It's digital time. Kat, did you have something else you wanted to say?
What'd you eat, Mark?
So I had Gazome earlier, and then pizza sticks with hot sauce.
Ooh, that's a good combo. A little bit of spiciness, a little bit of Italian. Damn.
I watched a dude the other day, Legend, on YouTube, and like he was doing a cooking show, but he was like, I mean, some of the stuff was like insane, and I'm like, Mark could do that. Like, I mean, like some of the stuff that he was stuffing a chicken with a pizza.
He's just making garbage food. He's just like goes into the kitchen and he's like, I'll take a handful of tacos and a handful of Spam, and then I'm going to shove it up a turkey's butt. And I'm going to put it on a rotisserie. And we're going to base it in hot sauce and I don't know what else.
It was not a turducken.
Ranch dressing.
Pizza. A chicken stuffed with a pizza. A chiquitza.
And then he used the cheesy breadsticks as he put it underneath the chicken.
Yeah. Like an open-faced sandwich on cheesy breadsticks.
And then after he roasted it, he basted it in like barbecue sauce. And then was like serving it with ranch dressing. It was like, I was like, man, that might actually be pretty good.
That's nuts.
I would eat it, but I'd have to be taking them bismuth, them Pepto pills after I ate something like that. But damn, it does sound good. Well, tonight we're here to tell all of you, and some of you may not know out there, about the Comic Corps' secret origins. How do we get started in comic book collecting, reading comics, the artwork, all that good stuff. And I want to first go to the guy that has, a ton of knowledge. He's spent years. He's bought comics ever since he was a little guy. And I'm going to the CBR, my superstar, to Chad in the house, man. I almost said your last name. I almost broke that kayfabe. But Chad, tell me about like why you got into comics and tell the fans out there a little bit about your history in the comics.
So I got into comic books because I have a stuttering problem. Every now and then, if you ever hear me, I'll take long, deep pauses. And it was one of the main reasons was because my dad didn't want to read golden books, so he started getting Spider-Man, and I always just enjoyed the comics. There was a mall beside me, and that had a comic book shop in it, and it eventually became New Dimension Comics. But we would go there and hang out and buy comics, and then I think I kind of like walked away from it for a while. Probably like right when I went to middle school is kind of when I stopped reading comics, and I actually got back into it because a comic book shop came to my hometown, so I didn't really have to go anywhere. And I think that was my sophomore year in high school, and I started reading Superman again, and it started rekindling my love and
Death of Superman too around that time.
That's exactly what it was. It was the first time like I was reading it, and I mean some of that art back in the day sucked too, man. Like a Man of Steel. But that was my main thing. And it was kind of funny because I was always I was in both worlds. So I played sports and did all that stuff, and then I had to like hide my comic book. Like people would go, "What are you going in there?" I don't know, nothing, something stupid. Come out with a brown paper bag. I don't know what that is, but then then I enjoy. I actually just I enjoyed reading the stories, and it was always I always had shops around me, so I never was able to like it was really easy for me to get into, and that's kind of like why I think I with this whole DC thing I'm taking the stance on the retailers, because I mean I always thought it was so cool. You're so lucky you own a freaking comic book shop. You must make tons of money. Man, these dudes don't make shit.
Yeah, they don't. No,
don't drag them now, Chad. They're running businesses.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, some of them make pretty good. But like a lot of these guys were collectors, and they're in a different place, and they may have, had jobs prior. I mean, the one guy that I bought my comics from, Pittsburgh Comics, he was an attorney before, and he just didn't want. He was he didn't like being an attorney anymore, and he wanted to run a comic book shop. He wanted to do something that he loved, and I think that's what kind of drew me even to this community was to the comic books on YouTube, was that in a comic book shop, it is a community. Like, nobody really judges anybody. You had your Steve Urkels. The only people I judge were the Magic people because they smelled.
I got that BO.
But I mean, like, there was times like you'd go to a comic book shop on the weekend, and they were hosting like a Injustice tournament, or like they had a bunch of people there. Just a lot of good times. And I remember Free Comic Book Day was one of the ones, like, we would all go there. Like, we didn't work there, right? But we would go there on Free Comic Book Day to help out the retailer. Like, all I did on Free Comic Book Day was cook hot dogs for everybody that went into the store. And then I'd make people dance, and I'd give them a hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the sense of community. And that's why when we started this, and Drew brought it up to me earlier this week, and Carson, Kat says it all the time, but like, it became a family, right? Like, we became close.
The only thing I heard Kat say, Chad, was the Solace family.
The Solace.
I'm sorry. All right, back to you, Chad. Sorry.
No, but that's the thing, and we all, when I jumped into it, I was like, I was doing it with another guy, and you
were doing it with another guy? Tell me more about that.
Well, all the pirate costumes and treasure.
Yeah, well, it was a dude that spent his entire life savings on building his own Batcave, and I mean, and just not a good person.
That's when you knew you fucked up.
Well, supposedly he left the back door open. The two dogs were in the yard, and then they went down to the Batcave, and they found Batman hanging there. It was one of those Flanders Institute
Chris Benoit moments. But I mean, honestly, we, but when we came together, like, go back if you haven't, sub us up. Hit the icon, hit the bell, whatever it is. Yeah. But if you want to see some fun shit, go back to like our very first 5 videos. I mean, we're in a comic book shop. There's 20 people on a panel. Everybody's talking over everybody. It's a train wreck of a show. But
my beard's longer than Alex.
Yeah, and everybody is drunk. I mean, we get a pizza guy coming in asking me, show me the hookers.
Yeah, where the bitches at?
You're just sitting there going, what the hell is this shit? And honestly,
if you guys have ever seen Miss Explain drop a duck butter and you don't know where that's from, like that came from the old days of just hangouts, baby.
That was the first time I ever met him. He showed up and he was like, hey, man. Yeah. He walked into he literally walked into the comic book shop and brought in a 12-pack, and he's like, let's get drunk and do this show. And I'm like, awesome, let's do it. And that's what was so cool about it. And we've gotten away from it a lot, and we've done some good shit, we've done some stupid shit, but like, at the end of the day, this is what it's about. And I this is what it's about. So you guys keep me grounded. Thank you for everything. I love you guys. And that's how I got into comics, and that's my big philosophy.
Man, that's what it's all about. And Chad, we love you too, man, because what we started here is we started a family, man. And there ain't no doubt about it. It's one of the best in all the community. But I got to go with Chris Barrett, man. Chris Barrett, he got his origin story out here, and he was able to get it all in just one comment. So thank you, Chris. I didn't want you to filibuster the chat room over there. He says his real secret origin is that between his attention deficit disorder and a mild speech impediment, he's always been on the outside to a degree, but when he's reading those comics, none of those things exist. I want to kind of say, that is a great thing about comics, because I started collecting comics 1990, 91, 92. I was buying all that stuff stuff off the rack, you know, your ASM 361s. Actually, I got the Cardiac. I was a big Cardiac fan back in the day, so I had Cardiac, but, you know, a lot of fun that way. But, you know, whenever you are in junior high and you're going into high school, you're going to have so much stress, you know, because you're worried, well, you know, some of the stuff going to school could be kind of scary, you know, going to a different grade or whatnot, or getting hazed by the damn varsity football players when you're on the JV team. I lived through some of that. That was some hard times. It's some bad rhymes, but man, you know, so at least you had the
Did they give you a watch?
Fall back on. No, they were
hard times.
They actually picked on some other kids, and that was really shitty that they did that. I didn't have any problems because my brother was on varsity, so I didn't have no troubles. But the other kids got screwed. But, you know, when you came home stressed out because you got an F, or, you know, you having some girlfriend issues, you can always just pick up those comic book stories, and then they can just, like, fill your heart with positivity and get your mind off the negativity. You know what I mean? So that's some of the cool stuff that I remember. But I want to go to Cat Wren Figures here. Well, she doesn't have the Mark BKR because we're getting our own private time with Cat. We ain't got no Mark BKR. So, Cat, tell us about some of your first times, you know, reading comics, getting comics, maybe some of the first times you ever been in a comic book store.
All right. So, when I first really set foot in a comic book store, probably be in the 90s. So, in the what was it, mid to early 90s, there was a launch of Pokemon in the US. And I was a little tyke back then, and I loved me some Pokemon. And I heard that there were these Pokemon card tournaments. So I actually went to Castle Comics, which was my local comic book shop at the time. And I competed in a Pokemon tournament with my older brother. And I ended up winning the Loser Bowl. If you actually go there in the card section in the back, there's this tiny picture of this really, really curly-haired little girl. And I was next to the winner because I think he just thought I was adorable. And he's like, I want her in the picture. But didn't win the actual tournament by any means. But I think I just impressed him just because, you know, I was so into it and I was so little. But that was like the first time I'd been around comics before, and we just kept going to those tournaments. And then I just started looking at all the beautiful artwork that was everywhere. I had a lot of problems reading when I was a child, and like actually being able to understand certain things and just comprehend it as a whole. But a way that I worked through that was I started reading things like Catwoman comics and Sailor Moon comics. And I really grew to love certain characters. And I watched a lot of like the Batman the Animated TV series and like the original Teen Titans series when that was coming out. The one that was like in the early 2000s.
Before Teen Titans.
The more serious one, you know. But I fell off when I got to be older because, you know, you get to be cool. You want to go to the mall. You worry more about this, that, and whatever. My friends, we were really into tennis. So that's what I did. I was really, really into tennis. And I actually ended up going on to college. And I ended up in a major that I thought was going to be fantastic for me. And I became very disheartened by it, and I fell out of love with it very quickly. And I was locked in to certain classes, and I didn't like going to them. I didn't like my professors. I didn't like what I was researching at all. And one night after a party, I ended up super drunk and watching Teen Titans Go, now that you mention it. And I was like, what is this shit? I was like, this is not the Teen Titans. I was like, this is not the Teen Titans I know, which, by the way, if you watch that show hammered enough times, you end up loving it, which I love it now for what it is. But it was not what I watched when I was younger, and it really, really kind of pissed me off. And that kind of sent me down this whole like well, what's going on right now in comics? What's going on right now in the whole mainstay world? And that's also around the time where when I first got my hands on Batman Under the Red Hood, the movie.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I loved that movie so much. And then I was, revisiting things like Harley Quinn, and I found Amanda Connor's run of Harley Quinn. I started reading Red Hood and the Outlaws from the New 52, and I was like, okay, so here's Starfire. I know that, I know Red Hood from this movie, but now I need to go back, and I started reading a lot of the 1980s run of the new Teen Titans that George Perez and Marv Wolfman had coming out. I wanted to know more about Red Hood as a Robin, so I read a lot of that. I got my hands on the Pro, which to this day is still one of my favorite books that I've ever read.
It's messed up.
The Pro, it's so messed up, but it was just fantastic for a 20-year-old who's going through depression and not understanding that at the time, and just going through a lot in their life. But when I graduated from college, I, for the first time in my life, had like a little bit of disposable income because I was working full time, and I was able to do whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to a shop. I'm going to go to a comic shop. I'm going to do this and do that. And I went and I was like, I know this character. I know this character. I know this character. And I just had like a stack. And I was like, what do you think I should read? And I ended up getting involved with the shop owner and like the whole staff there. It was like, hey, like this is a character you might like. This is a writer that you might like. Oh, you like Connor, you might like this artist. And it was like constantly every week I would go in there. I would love my Wednesday mornings. Every week I would go in there as soon as they opened, and I would just have like a 2-3 hour long conversation with whoever was working behind the counter about all the books that were coming out, and everything that was going on with the current statues, the current figures. I was really into pop figures at the time, and that was my way to just kind of get into the world. And unfortunately, that shop did turn over hands. A lot of the workers did end up leaving. I have a whole channel of it I have a whole video of it on my channel, where it was a long time coming when I finally left my last shop, and I ended up going on to Midtown, and it's been pretty great. Jean Grey's over there.
I love Jean Grey.
But I'll tell you, just talking to other comic book nerds and talking to like other, just people behind the counter, you get to learn about all of these crazy characters like the Midnighter. And you get to know exactly what's going on with Midnighter and Apollo. I just reread the Midnighter and Apollo miniseries on the DC app. I haven't reread it since it came out in its single issues a couple years ago. And it just brought back all those feelings of why I loved that story so much. And it just kind of made me smile, honestly. I was having a down day and I found it on the app, and I just read through the whole 6 issues, and I loved it so much. But for me, honestly, getting involved with YouTube, finding the YouTube comic book community and the Instagram comic book community and everything as a whole, and finding my way to my family, the core, it's just been a way to share my love of these things and keep it going. And like I've been exposed to other books that I had never thought of checking out before. And like I'd never read a Red Sonja issue before joining the YouTube comic book community, and the Amy Chu Red Sonja, it's not that bad. And I'll tell you, the Spider-Man Red Sonja series that they had was really fun. It was really fun, and it had some solid Mike Turner covers. There's one cover in particular where it looks like Red Sonja and Spider-Man are going to kiss. And that's one of my favorite covers of all time. I know it's not a DC cover, and you're like, Kat, you're a DC girl. Yeah, I love other things as well.
Well, Dynamite's always good. Always good.
Finding my way to my comic fam, it's been a way to just experience so much more of this nerddom that I had never been exposed to before. And I love it. I'm constantly open for suggestions of new titles and new characters to check out. There's no possible way that anyone on this panel could know every single comic book creation ever thought of. And I'm always like, hey, if you have any kind of opportunities, if you have any kind of thoughts that, hey, I should check out this book or this creative team or this artist, hell yeah. Go right ahead and comment it below, because that's what I'm here for. I love it. And
you make a great point, because you said when you feel down, you read these comics, they turn that frown upside down, they make you smile, and they make you happy. And oftentimes after I play Drew Manchu in WWE 2K19, I got to go read a lot of comics because I just got my ass whooped by Drew Manchu. Drew, tell us about your origin story, my friend.
Well, first of all, before we get into my origin story, let's just say that the Butcher's brand new springboard offense is a problem for a lot of people, Legend. Don't take it personally. For me, it started as far back as I can remember. All right. And it started with
this sounds like a Bible story.
The plastic crack. Right?
Oh, yeah. Toy Biz. Boy.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, before it was superheroes specifically, it was my brother and I with a giant tote of action figures, whether they be Transformers or Ghostbusters or freaking a He-Man or Thundercats or Silverhawks. It didn't matter what kind of action figure it was, or Mask was one that we loved collecting. Dino Riders. These are things we loved collecting, and we loved playing with them. But it was me and my brother on the playroom floor, and we either knew about these characters from the television series, the cartoons, or we made up our own origins for these random figures that we'd have in our collection. And we never called them action figures. My mom said, get your characters together. Because every time my mom would say, oh, what is this one? We'd have a dissertation about what this guy's backstory was and all this. And it was all characters and story for us. We were always reading. So imagination was not a problem for my brother and I. And it was always, like Kat said, about these characters and the way to experience these characters through these different stories. I brought some visual aids, gang. I'm just going to go ahead and throw them up for you. Now, this is I remember us having a Dr. Doom from the Secret Wars line. Mm-hmm. And we had the Wolverine from the Secret Wars line.
I lost the cape on that Dr. Doom real quick.
Dude, you lost the cape on I found the other day in like a tote. I found the little yellow cape from that first DC release of Robin.
Yeah.
But I have no idea where the Robin figure is, but I found the cape finally. So we're in the store, and I think the first time I remember buying an action figure, I looked at this one and I was like, bam, I need to have that.
Toy
right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't have that one because my older brother's the one who picked Wolverine.
Came with the Impel card.
My mom wasn't buying 2 Wolverines. Mm-hmm. She said, you don't need 2. You can get another one. So who did I pick? Bam, Nightcrawler.
There he
That's
is.
The first superhero toy that I bought. God. That I remember him being a superhero, and me knowing by reading the back of this, by looking at this figure, I know what the X-Men are, kind of. I know who Wolverine is. We already have one of him. This is just the update.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get the Nightcrawler. He's got the suction cups so you can put them on the window. Those broke off real fucking fast.
Yeah, they did. My Spider-Man one broke off too.
Right. And as far as actual comics go, we always kind of had actual comics around because my grandfather used to stock spinner racks in the drugstores. That was his job. So any damages, he just brought home for the grandkids. So I had Batman comics. I had, Supergirl comics. I had a couple of Star Trek comics before I was buying my own comics. But the first time I walked into a comic book shop with my own money was a place called the Strategic Castle that has been gone for 25 years. And I bought, well, maybe not. I don't know how the math works out on that. But I bought this issue right here, the Uncanny X-Men 300. It was a giant size spectacular issue. My mother was like, you're going to spend that much on a comic book? Because everything else was cost less than this spectacular issue that was as shiny gets. You got Wolverine and Cyclops on the cover there. I had seen the show, I believe, at this point. And this was the first book that I bought with my own money. Bishop just looks so awesome with that Jerry curl mullet flowing behind him. Storm, it looks epic, and you got that Jean Grey in the back there. It's John Romita Jr. art is the first book that I ever bought with my own money. I never really stopped loving these stories, these comics. Myself, I read more books probably by the time I got to middle school. I started to really enjoy novels. I started to get critical about movies. But the thing is, I always needed compelling characters and compelling stories. By the time I got back into comics, it was post Iron Man. It was post Batman Returns or Batman Begins. So it's there's a renaissance of these comic book movies. I always loved comics, and I had a couple, but I wasn't a hardcore collector. My brother actually introduced me to a shop that was the only shop I knew about for a while, because he's one of those, figurine, roll the dice, smell like cheese gamers. So he's like, oh, you like comics? Go check out this store. I was like, I don't know where to get comics, I said to him one day. He pointed me in the right direction. I went in there and I spent maybe $30 in the dollar bin. And I think what I picked off the shelf was the Posehn Duggan Deadpool and Punk Rock Jesus. And if they couldn't be two of the most different books ever, and if I couldn't love both of those runs any more than I love both of those runs, it hooked me like no other. And I don't have friends in my area who are super into comics. I've met some people through shops and free comic book day events, but it's kind of a solitary hobby to collect your things, kind of hoard them, and reading's a solitary hobby, and internalizing these stories and using them to make sense of your life is a solitary hobby. So to meet people online that were willing to talk about comic books and willing to accept me into the community, I think Count Von Strange and Spectacular Spider Grandpa are two of the first people that ever commented on one of my videos.
Two of the best.
Yep.
OMG Chris, rest in peace, man. That guy was super cool about making everybody feel like they were part of a community. And that dude right down there, that R Dowdy 95, was the first man that ever said my name in a live chat and made me feel like, okay, I'm a part of this, and it's cool to be able to share this hobby that I can't share with a lot of people with you guys. It's really awesome that I can reach out on YouTube just about any night and find somebody who wants to talk to me about, X-Men, or how much I used to love Superman, or any of these things that anybody in my IRL life is just like, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. And there's just one more inspiration for me. And I prepared something for you guys.
All right. Yeah.
A presentation. Okay. Because this topic is near and dear to my heart. I know we're running long.
No, that's all right.
We talked a lot of DC, but I've got one more inspiration that keeps me going. Okay. And I want to share that with you guys right now.
Dang.
If you guys think you got the most out of your Ultimate Alliance experience, think again. Because Xbox on Marketplace, they just released 8 new characters for the small price of, get this, just $10, or 800 Microsoft points, whatever the hell they call them. But anyway, you haven't even broke the surface of this game right here yet. I mean, look at this game box: Spider-Man, Elektra, Wolverine, Thor, Thing, Ghost Rider, Captain America, Iron Man. You'd think that'd be enough for your average gamer, but no, the gamers demanded more, and what they do, they gave them more. And I mean, look at these names, 8 characters. Not just like 2 or 3 characters like most companies would give you, like Justice League Heroes. Let's play as 2 characters at the same time. No, they give you 8 characters. You can play 4, whatever you want to do. You can like play X-Men Legends if you want to. They start off with Cyclops and Nightcrawler. You can teleport, optical blasts, whatever you want to do. And let's see, Hawkeye. You can play as the Avengers. You can have Hawkeye, Captain America, Iron Man. Oh man, it's like you can build whichever Marvel team you want in the existence of the entire Marvel universe. And the fourth hero, you won't even believe this, folks. The Hulk, the incredible, pissed off, mad, green Hulk. I mean, I've always wanted to play as him in this game. It's like, what if you play as now you can play as the Hulk. They have an ability like his abilities are just insane too. Like that is one where he's beats of chest. Like, and what can he do? He just grabs villains and uses them as weapons. I mean, you can just do whatever you want as the Hulk. But that's not all. They don't just give you heroes. They give you villains. That's right. They have a villains pack as well. They have, let's see, you start off as the man himself, Sabretooth. You don't have to play as just Wolverine anymore. You can play as Sabretooth. And let's see who else we got. Oh, the master of magnetism himself, Magneto. That's right, Magneto. So you can just go around and just throw balls of metal at people. I've always wanted to do that too. The last but not least, Dr. fucking Doom. The main bad guy of the entire game, Dr. Doom. Who would have thought? Imagine, like, any other game like that. Why don't you play Super Mario Brothers as Bowser? No, in this game right here, they give you Dr. fucking Doom, the most badass character in the entire Marvel Universe. Folks, what they could do, I mean, they could offer just 4 guys at $10. I mean, that's just a great deal right there. I mean, Hulk, Doom, Sabretooth, and Cyclops at $10. I mean, they could have sold that easy. But what they did, they give you 8 characters. I mean, hell, the price of the Hulk alone was worth at least 400 Microsoft points. But no, for 800 small Microsoft points, they gave you 8 characters. 8 awesome characters that are pivotal in the Marvel Universe. But yeah, I just like to thank Marvel for making such a great game, and Activision. You gotta love Activision. What a great company. But nonetheless, I'd like to thank Marvel and thank you for watching this review. And until next time, Hulk Smash!
Guys, go follow Game Zombie TV. They're my favorite video on the internet.
All you gotta say is the greatest character in Marvel, and he was on my villains lineup, Dr. Doom.
Oh yeah,
dude. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I know.
Carson,
oh man, gone too soon.
King Doom. Oh my God, Carson gone too soon. Let me tell y'all a little.
Can I share something with you?
Let me go back on the rewind and talk about 1990.
Check the chat real quick, which Joe Ryan says is that Gulak.
Yeah, that was Gulak. I had to throw some Gulak. Let me tell you about 1990. My boy Todd Walker, man. I got it one comic. You know, it's an Amazing Spider-Man. I still got it around. It's a McFarlane, but I just got it. You know, Grandma bought it for me off the shelf. Didn't think much of it. But in 1990, I got with my buddy Todd. He was a junior high friend of mine, and he showed me his comic book collection. You would have loved this because the whole box was like X-Men, New Mutants, and he had all the way up to, you know, well, he had Cable. That was one of the first ones like he had, and it was 1990. So he kept collecting. I didn't get into it, but I did go ahead and get X-Force 1, the bag. You know, I had the Cable card in there. Very cool. But one of the things that I remember most is going into the old comic book store down on the downtown square in the town where I lived. It used to be called just Miniplex cards because they had sports cards, no comics. But that was like in the 80s. When I got there in 90, they finally had a crap ton of comics. And first thing I noticed is a very dark comic book shop. You know, not a lot of windows. You had the windows at the door. You had a window at the very back. That was about all you had. You had very low lighting, and you had that musty old 1970s, that freaking smell. When you walk in that shop, you got that smell, and it was like, oh my God. And then you start flipping through these long boxes, and you had X-Men 12, you know, a good beater copy, but regardless, it's Juggernaut's first appearance for $50. I didn't have 50 on me, but I thought it was pretty damn cool. And then, you know, that shop, I'll always remember it. It'll always have a place in my heart because that's where I got the Amazing Spider-Man, the, you know, the cardiac run, you know, then Cletus Cassidy's first appearance all the way up to about 365 or so. And then I started collecting a lot of that Punisher, 90s Punisher, like the Raqueen storyline where he went under the scalpel to change his skin color to kind of blend in. So they weren't searching for Frank Castle anymore. Everyone thought Jigsaw had killed off Frank Castle. You know, then you had, of course, Black Punisher with Luke freaking Cage, with Luke Cage in the black leather jacket, the red shirt. He wasn't wearing the Power Man costume because at the time he left that yellow and, you know, blue costume because Punisher was new school. So Luke Cage was new school. Then you had Cage 1 that came out. I mean, you had all that 90s goodness. I remember going to my to Lone Star Comics because we went to that shop. It was a beautiful shop. The smell was a lot better because it was a more well-lighted store. Of course, Buddy Saunders had that money and all. So I got to see Buddy Saunders in there, you know, delivering books to all those locations in the North Texas area. But, you know, got so many great memories from going with my buddy Todd to these comic book shops, getting my first book, issue 167, The Fantastic Four, that was the first Fantastic Four book that I got. And from then on out, you know, the Fantastic Four books have just kept coming to ending up being the whole Fantastic Four run. And so many just great memories of friendships, great stories that you remember. The Man of Steel #1 first collector's issue, and I was like, damn, this is going to be worth a lot of money, which back then it really wasn't, but it did have a beautiful Jerry Ordway painted cover. Of course, like Chad said, my sophomore year, the whole Death of Superman thing came out, and man, I was freaking hooked. And then what Kat Wren said to bring that into play, you know, coming up on your social media, you know, YouTube, finding other people that have stuff that, you know, you have those common interests, you know, like comic books or video games or wrestling or whatever your favorite stuff to talk about on social media is. And Chad and everyone doing the Comic Corps, and like Kat Wren says, this is a family. And, you know, to be able to call your friends, I can call Drew, I can call Kat, Mark, Chad, Carson, everyone on the Comic Corps, you know, outside, you know, in IRL, you know, in the real life situation, and you can call and talk to them about your day, or if you need something, or if you need, you need a brother on here to pray for you. Those people are there to pray for you and get you through the hard times. And that's all from the power of just having a common interest, you know, comic books. So, man, the secret origins of the Comic Corps, you got it here tonight. You got it all because you got the family here tonight. And everyone in the chat, you're part of the family too, man. Comic Corps for life, man. What do you think, Chad?
I 100% agree. I listening to everybody talk about comics. Drew said something about walking into the store. Legend, you said walking into the store. I remember walking into the store, and you know how they had at the time, like, the displays were even shitty, you know?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
They had a jewelry case, right? It was glass, I remember, and they had a book. And for like a month, I was like, man, I got to get this book. But it was $20. And it was, I was like, oh my God. And my mom, I can remember my mom was like, I'm not buying that for you. And I just want to show you what, like, at the time was my holy grail, because I just looked at this. I've never read this book, but I just remember it. It was called Batman Digital Justice.
Oh God, I used to have that book.
Wow. Digital Justice, huh?
What, you ready for the interior? Remember the interior?
I remember the back cover too. It looked like a bad 3D movie or something, like a lawnmower.
Yeah, it was not good.
Look at this. And then here's Batman in it. This is the best. Is this?
Oh.
And at the time, Kat, that was like,
that was hot shit though. That was
yeah. They couldn't keep that book in there. Like it was the shit.
None of the video games, the Super NES didn't have those kind of graphics yet. I mean, you didn't get that kind of stuff till N64. That was top of the line right there.
I mean, here's a picture. I think Robin's in this one. I mean, this thing was just it was oh my god. And then those are all the like 3D, and it did have some regular images. And I'm going to show you that one right now because this
I'm pretty sure I gave my copy of that book away on an auction or something.
I'm just sitting here remembering this, and I'm like, oh my god, is this terrible or what?
Yeah, man.
Here it is.
Chad, we got a question in the chat for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Did you ever get a copy of Batman Digital Justice? This is from Chris Barrett.
No, I never did. Look at this. Look.
Oh god. What is wrong with Robin's hair?
Ooh.
He looks like a
Look at the Batman symbol on his chest.
Oh,
And every time I just go back to. I don't even know what this book is about.
From the 1990s.
This is the 80s. This has to be the 80s.
It was just god awful. I remember I had that book not too long ago, and I got rid of it. I don't know. Maybe I still have it. If I do, I'm sending it to Chad.
1990.
I have that hanging out somewhere.
Yeah.
1990. This book came out in 1990, and I'm telling you, this was like legend. Correct me. This was hot shit back then, right?
Yeah, because no one, you didn't have like computer games. Nothing had that kind of graphics. You know, we weren't used to anything like that. You know, this is before Toy Story. You know, I talked to my kids today. If you watch what Fievel Goes West or any of the Don Bluth productions, you know, like Rats and Nymph, the Rabbits Down Under, or whatever the hell it was. I mean, that's the kind of like animation you had. We didn't have 3D animation like Pixar.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ugh.
This was like all new for its time.
Is Robin wearing lipstick?
It looks like it.
Honest question: is Robin wearing lipstick?
I can't look at this. I'm just looking at the corner of my screen. Emma Frost boobs on it. I'm just saying.
With it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like
boobs.
Yeah, man.
I would whatever was in the middle. I wasn't watching that. No, don't show me that.
Look at that cover.
It was computer generated, but yeah, like see. Chad, I agree, man. We didn't have that kind of stuff back then. So when you looked at it, this was stuff that you'd never seen before. I mean, it was just pretty damn awesome. It was like getting that 16 megabyte cartridge of Street Fighter 2 when it finally hit the Super NES. It was the very first 16 megabyte cartridge on the SNES. It was something big like that, you know. So, damn, man. I mean, times have changed, huh, Chad, on that stuff, man.
I mean.
God,
it's going a 9.4 of this book is $20 still to this day. It held its price. I mean, dude, what a bad book.
Oh man, hey, we got Comics Misexplained in the chat. He says Batman wants his MTV.
Exactly. This book came out.
Good one.
And everybody was the thing about this book is everybody was going to the shop to buy it because it came out 1990, the same time the movie did.
Yep.
And everybody was like, "Oh, this must be the movie. This must be the movie." And
they were gone too soon. If you want the movie
Joker's floating eyebrows is what
check out Carson. He does have the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie adaptation comic, but it's not that one.
Those are some fun covers.
Damn. Well, you know what? We had some kick-ass Secret Origins. I want to go around the round table and find out what everyone is doing on their channel. I'm going to start with Cat Rand Figures and Mark BKR from Behind the Bar. Cat, what do you got going on your channel coming up?
I got some comic reviews coming up this weekend, probably Sunday, as well as a couple figures coming up. I do have a shipment that I got from Trick or Treat Studios and Sideshow.
Trick or Treat.
That's a lot of fun. Also, I'm going to be doing a review of this puppy.
Dude, that's going to be awesome.
I got to open it up and apparently change out the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, some jerk kid kept hitting that try me button.
Yeah, Mark, I told you not to hit that button too much.
I try not to.
So I got to change out the batteries for it.
You're welcome.
But, yeah, a bunch of odds and ends.
And possibly for BK behind the bar, do a root beer.
Was it root beer
float,
shot?
something shot?
I don't know.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And how about your the poll? It looks like the poll's doing pretty good for the next Choose Your Own Adventure.
Choose Your Own Adventure. I think right now it's tied between the Magic of the Unicorns and what was the other one?
Comic Man Andy said the Jewel of Nabuti.
Ah, yeah. Okay, so it's tied between the Lost Jewels of Nabuti and the Magic of Unicorns.
Damn, I know Andy wanted the booty, but me, Chris Barrett, and everyone else, we're going freaking unicorns. How about you, Drew Manchu? What do you got going on your channel? Tell us a little bit about that video you did today for from a certain good YouTuber couple.
Yeah, I got a winning prize from Downright. Why is my camera not in focus like ever? I don't know what is going on here, folks. I got a high-tech setup, and it seems to not want to work with me. But I did a live video earlier today where I did an unboxing of my winnings from Downright Nerdy's huge giveaway a couple weeks ago. If you guys haven't checked out Downright Nerdy Podcast, please be sure to do that. I also got some comic books today, and we did a comic haul in conjunction. So if you want to check out an awesome statue that I got from Downright Nerdy, check out that unboxing on my channel. I also streamed some Call of Duty the other day, and I'm probably going to do more of that at some point because I play that game a lot, and I might as well be streaming it if I'm playing it. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, we are rebranded on Twitter as @_comic_core_. So make sure you follow us there on Twitter. We're going to be posting there more often, and we could really appreciate more retweets. If you guys are on the Twitter machine, give us a follow there. We also have rebranded on Instagram as well. That is _comic_core_. Unfortunately, I did that one first, and the Twitter doesn't let you get the in. It's like one too many letters. So we'll figure that out at some point. But follow us, man. We got more content coming at you guys on a regular basis, and keep your eyes peeled there for everything we got coming.
Dude, that is right, man. We got a lot of good stuff going on the Comic Corps, and we're going to go to Chad because Chad knows what's going down. What has the Comic Corps got going on, Chad?
I don't know. Monday Night Modern Men. We got Tuesday Night Golden Age. Wednesday, The Greatest Show Ever. Thursday, Any Given Sunday. And Friday,
Thursday's Andy Given Sunday for sure.
Yeah, well, Any Given Thursday. Sorry. But if you guys haven't, check out Word Balloon over the channel, John Suntress. He's actually going to have the owner of DCBS on Sunday, so maybe be able to answer some questions.
Dude, that is gonna be freaking cool.
He's just overall good dude, man, and I was happy to be a part of that conversation. If you can check out Hero Initiative, and they are going to be doing something pretty cool next. I think they're going to do 11 not streams, but Zoom meetings over a course of 10 days with some really big names. And then, I don't know, maybe we can do a con or something coming up.
Maybe so, man. It's going to be, we got so many things going on behind the scenes. A lot of y'all don't know about those yet, but you'll find out when we find out. When we get more info, that's when we'll drop the info for you. I want to do a little bit last minute announcement here. My main man, Comics Misexplained, he reminded everybody that this Monday night on Modern Men, it is Kingdom Come, right, Drew?
Yes, sir.
That's
never
awesome.
read it before. I'm going to read it this weekend.
Oh my God! See,
it's going to get you. It's going to get you, Drew.
You know what's fun
I
about
hope it
that?
does.
The best part about that book
Night
is,
Star?
is looking for the Easter eggs.
That too.
That he paints in there, like Fat Albert's kids, the village people, the twins.
Oh the twin. Yeah.
What else?
Arnold and Danny DeVito.
No,
The Wonder Twins.
The Wonder Twins.
Oh, the Wonder Twins. Okay.
When
you say the twins, you gotta be specific.
The Wonder Twins are
I
like
love me some twins.
The Wonder
Twins, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The Wonder Twins are like me and Carson, because we know how to tag. I'm sorry.
Fat Albert's in there.
But man, I tell you. Well, we've had a great show tonight. We thank y'all so much. Check out Modern Men this Monday for some Kingdom Come. We got Comic Noob just stopping in, man. It's great to see you, Comic Noob. You need to watch this show on the Rewind so you can find out all the secret origins because they're freaking awesome. Well, fans, this is the Comic Corps. This is the great legend. And for Kat, Mark, Chad, and Drew, and Carson too, gone too soon, we're saying peace out. God bless. Bye, everybody.
Bye.